Hey, sexy bitches. Oop. Hey, sexy bitches. Okay, so I'm gonna tell y'all my idea. I don't know how I'm gonna structure it yet, but in my mind, it's like this reparenting series, right? Because right now, I'm doing a lot of like healing through my mother and father wounds, and grandfather wounds, and crone wounds. I've been healing, okay? And I just feel like it's really, I got my journal right here because it got all the goodies in it. But it just feels like really imperative right now in this time that we focus extra on healing our relationship to feminine energy and femininity overall. And honestly, not just femininity, but also like gender, but that's something that we'll talk about another day. Um, but yeah, just our relationship to femininity, feminine energy, and like our stance on misogyny, because especially if you live in America, it's very like it's normal to be misogynist here because this entire system is built on misogyny. You know what I mean? Like everything is turned towards patriarchy because if you separate the masculine from the feminine or masculine energy from the feminine energy, they can't come together to create balance. There's always going to be an extreme, which is misogyny and the patriarchy, the isms, the phobias, the archies, like all of the things. So yeah, if we want to like heal or even just have like a refresher on reparenting ourselves, I think this is going to be the video. Or like this is going to be the series. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, okay. So, we're going to start off with um okay. I'm going to ask two questions in the beginning and then I'm going to okay. So, let me ask you your two questions, right? Okay. So, how do you feel about you and how do you want to feel about you? How do you feel about you right now? How do you feel about you? Like not on no surface level shit, on some like how do you like and the answer cannot be cute. That's okay. But we need honesty. That's a part of the mother wound. A lack of honesty and accountability, but we're gonna get to that. Um so how do you feel about you? And how do you want to feel about you? So by the end of this video, hopefully there's gonna be like a click for a bridge there, maybe some clarity on how you could bridge those two. Yeah, okay. So all right, so the mother wound, like I said, is a lack of accountability and a lack of honesty, but more specifically around your emotions. So the mother wound is going to be your inability to feel safe, which is also nervous system dysregulation. And nervous system dysregulation stems from not just generational trauma that's in your DNA, you feel me, that your body naturally stores, that your muscles is naturally storing, but also emotional dysregulation that was either given to you or that you picked up on, or like your emotional regulation growing up became emotional dysregulation as a result of trauma. You know what I'm saying? So that's the mother wound. Your inability to feel safe, your inability to receive and just sit and allow and trust, and your ability to hold compassion, specifically because compassion is the form of love that is more so focused on witnessing you through whatever versus all encompassing. You know, compassion is I see you in this and I feel for you. Okay. I don't have to take on what I see in you and what I feel for you is a part of the mother wound. Well, actually, that's a part of the father wound, taking on more than what you should because you feel like that's the only way you're going to get love. That's another episode for another day. But a part of the mother, like a part of the mother's job is, and I say the mother specifically because it's not, for me, I don't think of motherhood as just a physical mother. I think of the mother as the great feminine energy, you know, like the base of all things, the primordial mother energy, which is why I also bring up the crone wound because the crone wound is pretty much the grandmother wound. The grandmother wound being like it's like your emotional legacy. So your ability to connect with ancestral intuition and like the Akashic records or like your literal, like I said, being able to unlock and be aware of the energies that lie dormant in your body due to generational trauma, things of that nature. That's the crone wound. A part of the crone wound is like the Salem witch trials. Okay, people that were heavy and deep in their spiritual practices due to lineage or due to ancestry lineage, okay, due to due to like ancestral practices, you know, like they were carrying on and holding the torch of spiritual practices of spirituality, and they was fucking hunted down because of patriarchy that lives within us. Okay, so not only does the mother wound live within us, but our inability to emotionally regulate comes from the crone wound, which ultimately is the suppression of your ancestral intuition, the suppression of your ability to listen and connect with your body, to listen and connect with your spirit and be one with your spirit through your body. Okay. So I don't know if like you're making any connections or anything right now, but if you look around at the world today, what we struggle with the most is connecting with spirituality on an actual spiritual level. Like, and even I know that religion is like separate from spirituality. I say that very loosely because religion is a part of spirituality, but spirituality is not a part of religion necessarily. Most of the time, okay, I won't speak on that. But we struggle to connect with the spirit in things. We worship ego, even in like modern day Christianity and the Christianity that was used to enslave people mentally. Um, they're worshiping a white man, a man though. It's a man. It's a man specifically. It's a he, and it's like bold of you to assume that spirit, the all encompassing entity of life, is just the fucking he. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Whatever. Um, but yeah, it's just a lot of things are like very egoic based. And it's because there is a lack of intuition present when it comes to listening to your body. And honestly, I will say to a certain extent, there are a lot of people, not to a certain extent. I will also say there are a lot of people that when they get on their spiritual journey, they still decide that they resonate with the spirit of Jesus. That I fuck with it. I get that he because in my spiritual practice, I work with the masculine spirit as well, and I be saying he sometimes. So I get that. I get that. But that comes from having like being able to listen to your body and knowing what really works versus looking outside of yourself to another authority. So the mother wound sets you up to fall into the patriarchy, and really the mother wound is just the absence of masculine energy. When you think about it, I mean, creation at the end of the day is just feminine energy deciding that it was it wanted to experience itself. So masculine energy became its balance, masculine energy being the physicality of things. I am the masculine counterpart to the universe. You know what I'm saying? We are the divine masculine to the divine feminine to the universe, you know, but I wouldn't say that God is a woman because again, when feminine energy is alone, it has this separation trauma of feeling whole but not having anything to experience itself through. So you need both. You genuinely do. You need both energies. So okay. How does this affect our relationship to the feminine? I think I've already kind of like explained that a little bit, but our relationship to femininity, because feminine energy and femininity are two different things. Okay, femininity is an expression, masculinity is an expression. Feminine energy and masculine energy are energetic principles. Principles, meaning they are the primordial energy blocks that make up every tiny little thing. Okay, they are within everything. Both energies, they work together with everything. That is not the same thing as masculinity and femininity. So the way that this affects our relationship to the feminine specifically is because we see femininity as something that is a one-way street. And a part of feminine energy is gender. So having distorted feminine energy or a distorted point of view on feminine energy would put you in a place where you're looking at things only on a binary. My microphone turned off. But looking at things only on a binary lens, um, and that makes that makes femininity a very one way thing. You have to look a certain way or be a certain way. And it's not. If you're looking at femininity in the light of the essence of feminine energy, you would still have a balance of masculinity within that femininity. Like, femininity is not always going to look one way. And it shouldn't look one way because feminine energy itself is chaotic energy. Excuse me. Just like, yeah. And I'll talk about masculinity in another episode because this is not about the father wound. But yeah. So we put ourselves in boxes on a feminine level when we are not connected genuinely to our feminine energy. And that is why like misogyny is able to so easily shape the standards of what is deemed as beautiful for the feminine bodies in the collective. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So okay, I'm gonna read this straight from the book, straight from my journal. I said for this, the main theme is to witness yourself, your creations, and your community through honesty and compassion. Guidance, not direction. You are everything you need to be and have everything you need within. You don't need anything outside of you to make you whole. Your natural self expression is the key to your purpose. You deserve to feel freely and trust that you are always in alignment. Be here, slow down. You are always where you need to be. And then I said, rewiring your inner mother requires nervous system regulation because that governs the state of trust you have within your relationship and life dynamics. Moral of the story, be gentle with yourself. You're not bound by or to your gifts, they are one with your soul expression, trust, and freedom because you deserve pleasure. Okay, so with all of that being said, when we're looking practically into healing this mother wound or like getting into our feminine energy, we really need to tap into our rage because at the end of the day, if you have not tapped into your mother like mother wound for real, and you have not gone there like all the way there with yourself, you have pent up rage. You got pent up anger. You got pent up anger, baby, because there is nothing that feels more dehumanizing than being stripped of your ability to be seen in your emotions. That's literally the epitome of being a human. Being seen in your primality, in your fluidity, in your emotions, in your softness, in your innocence, in your curiosity. That's what it is to be a human. So, in order to really get to a point where we can flow with ourselves, again, I'm going to read from my journal because I just wrote down everything that I be doing, all the things I could think of. So, okay, we have EFT tapping, somatic healing, and nervous system activation. And you know what? Maybe I could put like video links below for like things that I be doing. But okay, so EFT tapping is a somatic practice, but it's like a somatic rewiring practice. And it's all rewiring, but it's more so rewiring your nervous system in relation to the stories that your mind has stored. So EFT tapping, and then somatic healing, somatic release flows, and then nervous system activation. What's her name? Um, her YouTube handle now is Michaela Good Game, but she put me on. Um, nervous system activation. My favorite channel is She Breathe. For yoga, because that's also up here. Um, Black Yogi Nico Marie. I love her down. I love her down. I love her down. Um, and dancing, I pole dance and I do floor work. I also would like to get into like hip hop dancing because that's something that I always like love to do, but I never let myself like fully express myself and like move around and stuff like that. So I feel like that was something that I kind of shied away from because I was afraid, but I'm entering an era of myself now where I'm ready to really express myself and be my full self because I'm healing my mother wound, you know? So yeah, get some dancing in. And trauma is definitely stored in the psoas, which is here in your hips. Uh-huh. Connects your lower hips and your back together. Okay. I mean your hips and your back, your lower back together. Okay. Your psoas holds. It is tension. It tenses up when trauma happens in certain situations. Okay. Sexual situations. Sexual trauma. Trigger warning. Sorry. Sexual trauma. Um And honestly, anything that would make you tense up your hips, anything that would make you tense up your hips causes tension in the psoas and would hold trauma in your hips. Shoulders, your shoulders hold so much trauma. If you have heavy Cancer placements or Saturn placements, you or Virgo placements, but specifically Cancer and Saturn, you 9 times out of 10 probably have posture, heart posture, and like shoulder tension. And we tend to have tighter shoulders. I say we because maybe we have tighter shoulders because we carry a lot emotionally. And so when we are healing those, a part of our mother wound specifically is healing how much emotional weight that we choose to carry and giving ourselves boundaries on what we emotionally take on. Because while the mother is meant to nurture, she also was not meant to nurture to her detriment. She's meant to nurture herself first and let that be the overflow that pours into the cup of her child, her children, or whatever she's nurturing or taking care of. Because, like I said, the mother is not always a mom of a baby. It's mothering energy. It's nurturing energy. What are you taking care of? What ideas have you birthed that you're working on and tending to on a day to day? So yeah, dancing is beautiful for healing your mother wounds. Self-touch, a part of the mother wound is body autonomy. Like I said, not being able to connect with your body on a spiritual level. So struggling to have body autonomy or boundaries, feeling like you are worth having those emotional boundaries, or feeling like you're not entitled to the sacredness of your body. Self-touch requires you to reclaim not just your body but your senses, because in order to be able to, it's different when you are engaging with somebody else. You feel me? I feel like you can kind of fantasize a little more because you have somebody else doing it, but when it is you are met directly with how you feel about yourself on a sensual level, on a sexual level, on a physical physiological level. Like, you're going to know how you feel about yourself, and if it feels disgusting, then that is definitely a start. But ultimately, the goal is also, if it feels disgusting, I encourage you to really give yourself grace and still sit with yourself. You deserve to feel pleasure. You really do. And self touch is deeper than just sexual touch, it's rubbing yourself. Like, how often do you give yourself this? And that's a part of somatic practices. Like, I know the She Breathes YouTube channel that I was talking about. Um, she does do like self-touch in her somatic practices where she just has you like rub your arms and shit like that. But when was the last time you gave yourself a fucking hug? Like, true intimacy with yourself. Having a love language of physical touch is not wanting other people to touch. It's not just wanting other people to touch you. Okay, it starts with, and it's you are always going to be deeply sensitive if you are touch starved by yourself. So the minute somebody else touches you, and this is going to be emotionally too, but the minute somebody else touches you physically, you're going to immediately feel a spark and you're going to have this attachment. Whereas if you truly know yourself, you're going to know what pleasure truly feels like to you, because you're going to have touched yourself. You're not going to be touch starved. You're not going to be love starved, taken care of starved, seen starved when other people come into your quantum and reflect your wholeness back to you. So you'll have more discernment when it comes to who you let into your space. That's where the boundaries and the self-respect come in, which is the father wound. But um yeah. So okay, self-touch. Um okay, crying. Fucking cry. You're not weak. You're not weak. You're not weak. Cry. And cry around somebody at that, because a part of the mother wound also says that you don't need to ask for help. Why? Because If you can't do it all by yourself, then you're inadequate, you know? And that's not fucking true. That's very wounded. I can't receive energy. You feel me? So cry. Cry in community. Be sad in community. Be not your 100% self in community. It's okay. Allow yourself to not be 100% around you. You don't have to bedrock all day just because you feel 40% and not 100%. You can still get up and give your entire day 40%, and maybe by the end of it you'll be at negative 10%, or maybe by the end of it you'll be at 20%, because maybe something that you did for yourself added on. But a part of the mother wound is giving yourself space to feel that grief and still nurture yourself through that, still taking care of yourself, allowing grief and joy to coexist, because you deserve to allow your emotions and seasons and cycles to flow. And if you are a AFAB or woman, you identify as a woman or a female, connecting to your uterus, the actual energy that the uterus holds is womb energy or creation energy. And if you can and feel comfortable tapping into that energy within yourself, that is also another way to heal your mother wounds, because the mother wound is also disconnected from the physicality of creation. The mother wound sees creation as just a thing that you perform, as something that you push out. You're a baby making machine, so it's not sacred, you know. The mother wound really takes the crone wound really takes a lot of sacredness out of what the mother wound reinforces. Um, yeah, I don't remember what I was saying, but yeah, journal your thoughts. Journal your thoughts. Talk to yourself. 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 The only way you can self study is if you listen to yourself. Stop telling yourself that you don't have time for you. You have time for you. You have time for you. Your mama may not have had time for your emotions and your nuances, but you got time for your emotions and your nuances, because who the fuck else would it? What else would the energy go to? Why would the energy be worth it for anybody other than you? Okay, okay. Um, Meditation time, silence with self. Again, it goes back to talking to yourself, sitting with yourself. Yeah, the only way that you'll know your body, that you'll be able to feel peak pleasure and it be true pleasure and not uh synthetic or rushed or like short lived because it was based off of desperation and not true wholeness. The only way that you'll truly be able to sit in that pleasurable state is through meditation in some way, shape, or form. And meditation doesn't necessarily have to be like sitting down, but I will say it gets to a point where you will really need to just sit in a fucking corner in the dark with no stimulation other than yourself. Like, you are gonna have to sit 100% with yourself. Meditation doesn't have to look like sitting still, but if you like have ADHD or you are used to consistently moving or having anxiety, you're used to moving to cope, or like you have a dopamine deficiency, that's also part of the mother wound, not being able to manage your energy properly because you don't know how to take care of yourself. So it grows into addiction and you chase a high of being able to feel something, satisfaction, whatever it is. Um, But yeah, in order to really sit with yourself, sometimes you also have to stop that movement, because the movement could feel good, but sometimes that movement is like your body's way of being hyperactive because it's telling you that it needs to fucking sit down. You know what I mean? Like, rest is imperative for the body, but also for the mind and the heart. The heart needs to rest sometimes. And Well, you got to think about it. The physiology of the heart is pumping oxygen out to the body. It's always pumping. And when you're moving a lot, what is it doing? It's pumping faster because it's maybe adrenaline's kicking in, or it needs to get more out. So when you're always moving and you never give yourself time to just slow down and stop without moving anything, your heart never has time to just rest. You have to give your heart time to rest. Okay. Mirror work. Mirror work. And mirror work is not just looking in the mirror and saying affirmations. It's also sharing vulnerabilities with a trusted like person, with somebody that you trust genuinely supports you. And one thing I will say, if you are struggling to create community, that is also slightly a part of the mother wound, but it goes into the father wound too. If you struggle to create community, first look at your ability to receive, but also look at your ability to trust yourself, because I feel like we struggle to allow others to mirror us because we don't trust that we're choosing safe spaces. Why are you putting yourself in situations where you don't trust that person? You know what I mean? And this all goes back to the desperation versus wholeness. You'll know when you are going to somebody for support versus for co-regulation or codependency, or to dump your shit on them and avoid yourself, because you'll feel it. You'll feel the difference. You'll start to know the difference between what is you abandoning yourself and what is you recentering yourself, coming back home to yourself and giving yourself the space to be supported with another person. And then I already said healing your limiting beliefs around sensuality and releasing misogyny. Healing your limiting beliefs around fucking slowing down. The world wants you to think so bad that you need to fucking just go, that you need to go, that you need to go, that time is of the essence. And while, to a certain extent, we do need to like really live our fucking life, because we do not get this day ever again. While we do need to sit in that truth and live life, we also need to give ourselves the space to like not be afraid of death. Like, that's a part of the mother wound, not being afraid of fucking death and change and shifts. Like I said, cycles. You can rest. You don't need to rush before destiny gets to you. Okay, destiny can also be life. Destiny doesn't have to just be death. In fact, destiny is both life and death. And death is not just death, it's transition. It is the portal between
Feeling like they coming out of the tunnel, but bro, they pop out like security cover. The top niggas already thinking the things like a nigga was chosen to win this tunnel. Yeah, hustle on side of the beat. I know some niggas who jump at the first damn off, but they think I done failed.